For the life of me, I gotta say that I really wasn't looking forward to playing another Sega CD game that involved full motion video. Because after we had played that wonderful little experience that is Tomcat Alley, I kinda wanted to stay back off the Sega CD for a bit. But I decided to pick a game up, Double Switch. A game that's all about trapping people and saving tenants in some apartment complex. Let's find the positives. Double Switch is a game where you control these traps in a whole bunch of different rooms. You move around from room to room, and you can set off the traps whenever it's appropriate. However, this kind of gameplay has a big problem. Now, I assume all of you guys have played a game, watched a movie, read a book, whatever. Most video games exist with the beginning of a story and then has an ending sometime at the end of the line. Sometimes a video game has branching paths that change here and there, but Double Switch was very, very different. Imagine, if you will, that you're watching television. You've got a remote control and you keep switching the channels every so often. Whenever you go back to an older channel that you weren't watching anymore, time had progressed, so whatever was going on that channel kept moving forward. That's Double Switch. Every single event in every single room keeps moving forward regardless of you viewing it or not. Essentially what happens is the story progresses when you're not paying attention, and because of that it's almost impossible to get a full scope of what's going on in the game. And because this is a full motion video game, its focus is really on the story. Another problem with the game is the way that you set off traps. Now, while most people think setting off a trap would be as easy as clicking one button, it isn't. At the bottom of the screen you can arm a trap, and to arm a trap you have to push one of the buttons on the controller 3 times. Then to engage the trap you have to press the button a 4th time. That's stupid. Just really think about that. In order to make this game easier, all they really had to do was just have a 1-button trap option. But they didn't, and it makes the game really difficult switching from one room to the next trying to set off traps. As you can tell, there are a bunch of problems with this game, but one of the things that they did really well was that they kind of added different elements into the game to give you more of a reason to be paying attention to certain rooms. For instance, if you're watching a room at a certain time, you'll actually unlock a new trap. And there's some instances when an enemy appears that you actually have to disarm traps on them, that way they can't capture other people. If you do this properly, it extends the gameplay further and allows you to actually complete it. But by doing that, they added additional elements of the game that kind of made it more interesting to play. So a switch up on the gameplay, I find, is a really good positive. This game could have easily been just you sitting down watching a bunch of TV screens, but by switching up the gameplay halfway through and adding those tiny little elements, it makes the gameplay a little bit more interesting. So the first positive is that it changes up the gameplay. Most of these FMV games have really bad acting. Double Switch really doesn't change that, but it does have a good cast. Unlike many other FMV games, Double Switch has a bunch of people you may actually know, like Corey Haim, Arlie Emery, and Deborah Harry. You know, Blondie, from the band Blondie? Yeah, she's in this game. Actually has quite a prominent role. And although some of their acting is questionable, it's fun to watch. And they're pretty good actors most of the time. So if you enjoy them as actors, a big positive for this game is it's got a really good cast. FMV games are all about the video, so if the video doesn't look good, what's the point of playing the game? And I gotta say, Double Switch has a lot of good-looking video. Now, while the quality is a little bit questionable on the Sega CD version, it does actually show some pretty cool sets, some pretty cool designs, miniature work. There's a lot of really cool things that went into the design of this game. Even the traps are really fun to watch. And that's a really big positive, because at least it's not tiring to look at. So, another positive for this game is it's got great video production. it's kind of impossible to see the full story, because there's always some event happening that you need to pay attention to. If you don't prevent somebody from pulling the power off on your camera gear, you'll actually lose. And there are videos that are happening that you should be paying attention to while these events are going on. So there's very few instances where you'll actually be able to watch a video from beginning to end without interruption. But when I played this game when I was younger, I found a way to play it by kind of purposely losing at points just so I could see the full version of a video. Once I did that, I actually got to experience the whole story. There's a lot of really cool mystery elements going on, there's a lot of different storylines playing. It's interesting. It's actually kind of rewarding if you pay attention to it all. And while the ending is kinda stupid, it was fun getting there. I enjoyed the story. So, the last positive for this game? It's actually got a pretty decent and at least interesting story. At the end of the day, Double Switch just isn't a good game, and that's the thing that really puts this game on the list of undesirables. But there's a reason. Digital Pictures, the people that made this game, weren't really game designers, they were filmmakers. And although they were doing a lot of really interesting things with the technology that existed at the time, they just didn't know how to make a good game to save their lives. So you just had a lot of bad experiences playing these kind of games, expecting a lot more and getting a whole heck of a lot less. If somebody were to take this game genre nowadays and run with it, they could probably pull off a really cool experience. Maybe someday some company will resurrect this kind of game genre and bring it back and do it properly. And maybe this time, they won't hire Deborah Harry as an actress. Seriously, dudes. Blondie? You couldn't have gone with Cher?